Hello everyone and welcome back to the Tom Colohue channels. Today we are hosting Spoiler Warning, our news show, and we'll be talking about the future unification of championships going forward under the Bloodline. We will also be discussing some of the latest news, including plans for Ronda Rousey with her current open challenge, as it were, the idea of her being a fighting champion and where this is going to lead, as well as plans for the future for Roman Reigns, who has a lot of rumours swirling around him at the moment, and that of course leads us nicely into plans for Hell in a Cell. This is, as usual, an Ask Me Anything stream. You can jump in, ask me whatever questions you would like, and I will have an update on Colohue Gaming in the near future as well, which will be coming a little later in the stream. So, as the questions and greetings come in, giving me something to read, keep the show running, I will start with the news. The WWE are planning a unification match, at the very least, between RK Bro and the Bloodline. Plans from creative at this moment is very much focused on an undisputed Bloodline, meaning that the Bloodline, the four men involved, if we count Paul Heyman, would hold 6 championships between them. This would allow the Usos and Roman to work both shows. However, the change to Roman's contract means that Roman is very unlikely to work both shows, because it's very likely Roman will be working one show, that being SmackDown, much less than previously, and Raw barely at all. The main reason that they want to get Roman on Raw is because of a lack of challengers at the moment, and while Drew McIntyre is planned to be rebuilt, he was knocked down firmly a peg or two. The delay will hold him until SummerSlam and the UK pay-per-view time. However, Shinsuke Nakamura is in spot at the moment for Roman Reigns, so the most likely match at Money in the Bank seems to be Roman Reigns versus Shinsuke Nakamura. As has been previously mentioned on this channel, the most likely scenario for SummerSlam is Cody Rhodes, and that takes us nicely into Drew McIntyre once again when we finally get around. Sorry, I just got a no data warning on YouTube. When we finally get around to the UK pay-per-view. This potential feud with Drew McIntyre was to tide them over. They were not planning on the unification match immediately, but Hell in a Cell looks like it will be main evented, or at least be prominently featuring a match between the Usos and RK Bro for both sets of championships. This would mean that next week on SmackDown they get a dusty finish and the match is basically thrown out. They are going to be focused almost entirely on SmackDown on this particular match going forwards, though we will continue to have the open challenge for Ronda Rousey. The open challenge will include wrestlers such as Aaliyah, Shotzi, potentially Xia Li. It is unlikely to feature many repeaters, as it were, before we eventually get to the ultimate plan, which is in reference to something Spider-Boss has said there. This would create a very nice vehicle for the return of Bayley to answer an open challenge, and you only would have heard about it about an hour beforehand from the people who leak every single thing that happens. So if you don't want to know about Bayley, please block every news reporter out there in the wrestling field, and good luck on that. Hell in a Cell will be built around this. It will be built around the feud between Asuka and Becky Lynch on the Raw side, though we will of course have Cody versus Seth seemingly inside Hell in a Cell one more time. That is the other match that is currently competing for the main event spot. Becky Lynch and Asuka not believed to be competing for that position. We are also looking at a tag match, Damian Priest and Edge versus Finn Balor and AJ Styles. Any report about Finn Balor potentially joining Edge's stable is certainly possible, but it's not a report, it's fantasy booking. A lot of people have been saying it's likely to happen, but the people saying it's likely to happen are the fans, and this is a rumour that's entirely come about because of fan speculation. Let's jump into the chat and see what everyone's saying. Firstly, welcome Sean, says hi Tom. Spider-Boss says hi Tom. I was expecting Bayley on Friday, but ended up being Raquel versus Ronda. The open challenge could potentially lead to the return of Bayley. Bayley, as I've mentioned, is currently planned for SmackDown and is being pitched against Ronda Rousey. Matthew Ham says, hello Tom, any updates on Hell in a Cell matches? Nothing significant, though I did of course have a lot to say about the planned match between RK Bro and the Usos. That particular match, the unification match, which would result in the undisputed Bloodline, is likely to feature at Hell in a Cell, possibly as the main event. Spider-Boss, is any chance of the Usos beating RK Bro? Yes, heavy chance of the Usos beating RK Bro. In fact, I'd say the Usos beating RK Bro is the most likely scenario. While I have you here, if you're currently watching on YouTube, please do remember to hit the like button. That little thumbs up can make a massive difference to the growth of the channel. It can make a big difference to the growth of everything that I'm striving towards as well. So if you haven't done so yet, please remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't. We're currently at 1,115 subscribers, a considerable rise in the past few days. Spider-Boss says, what is next for Roman Reigns? Next for Roman, there is a potential for Shinsuke Nakamura, but Roman's story won't really kick into gear again until closer to SummerSlam time. After Money in the Bank, leading into SummerSlam, that's when we'll start to see threats to Roman again. Shinsuke Nakamura is waiting there as an option should he need it. Drew McIntyre likely to be on the back burner for a couple of months now. Noob is here, says, good evening, Tom. How are you doing? Doing very well, thank you, Noob. I've had a fantastic weekend. Genuinely amazing. I watched Eurovision with my family, and we've just been playing a child-friendly version of Cards Against Humanity, which isn't as child-friendly as we expected, and neither are the children that we were playing with. James Stewart says, unification seems a bit farcical, unless a new singles title is debuted, in my opinion. No new singles title is going to be debuted. The same with the tag titles. They are calling it unification. The championships will not be merged at this point in time. Simon is here, welcome. Says, just give Raw the big gold belt. They are not planning to do that. Let the top guys fight for it. The Bloodline have buried the entire men's divisions. Non-Bloodline fans like me are suffering. We have nothing at all to watch in the men's. I disagree on the basis of Cody Rhodes, Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens. I agree on SmackDown, that's certainly true. Raw, not so much. Spider-Boss says, who will challenge Bianca for the Raw Women's title? We have Alexa Bliss as a possibility. Rhea Ripley is shaping up for it as well. So at the moment they are killing time with Bianca until they can get Rhea involved. The user says, hi mate, any word on Moxley's contract yet? Nothing as of yet. John Moxley's contract is closer and closer every day to expiring. Tony Khan, I confused my Khans there for a moment. Tony Khan is in discussions, but no formal offer has been accepted as of this time. John Moxley, as we know, is one of those, and in fact the only one, earning $6 million a year, there or thereabouts. The closest competitor is someone like CM Punk, earning half of that. So John Moxley, if he wants more money, that'll be a struggle, because Tony Khan, the checkbook is not a blank slate anymore like it used to be. Simon says, are we getting Boss Glow versus the Celtic Connection, Natty Shane, and a rematch in Hell in a Cell? I wouldn't necessarily say we're likely to get a rematch. I don't think they're going to make the Hell in a Cell card. I don't think Boss Glow will feature, though I think they will wrestle against Doudrop and Nikki Cross in the weeks ahead. Though I do think, and I hope, that Nikki Cross and Doudrop will be helped by a returning Alexa Bliss. I just feel that is a combination that works brilliantly. Spider-Boss says, I see the Usos versus RK Bro ending with Roman attacking Riddle. GQ ending incoming. I definitely find that as a likelihood as well. That leaves the possibility that on SmackDown we will get a match between Riddle and Roman Reigns. And to be clear, as I said earlier this week, Roman Reigns has pitched for a match against Matt Riddle. He wants to wrestle that man. Wiggly says, yo, 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 yo. Welcome, Wiggly. How you doing, mate? Matthew Ham says, is Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair versus Asuka set for Hell in a Cell? No, the match is not set at this time. They did originally pitch Asuka versus Becky Lynch as a solo match. Then it was bumped onto the Hell in a Cell card, which means it may well include Bianca Belair. Ross Menzies mentions Tyson Fury, but I'm guessing you haven't quite finished what you were trying to say there, so please do consider continuing that one. Jermaine says, hi Tom, I see Bayley versus Ronda happens at Hell in a Cell, a match on SmackDown. I think that is too soon. I think we're more likely to have that match at Money in the Bank. When it comes to Hell in a Cell, we have several weeks of open challenge ahead of us for Ronda Rousey before we formally get the return of Bayley. Spider-Boss says, congrats to Liverpool for the FA Cup. It was a hell of a match. A really good one. Chelsea definitely ran us very close. Simon says, Tom, your thoughts? What's going with Sasha's Twitter yesterday? I don't know what you're referring to, and to be blunt, when it comes to Sasha Banks, she's probably just mocking the fans. That's usually what she's doing. Matthew Ham says, are the two cell matches Seth Rollins versus Cody and AJ, and Liv versus Edge, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest? Note to my knowledge at the moment, only one cell match has been formalised, that being Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes, though there is a possibility that the tag team unification match will be in a cell as well. Sean says, more unification by the Bloodline. Talk about shoving a faction down our throats. The Bloodline are it when it comes to the WWE. It's all they really want to focus on. It is certainly, the top act of all of the WWE programs right now, and it's certainly a very effective way to push people. Kevin Knight says, hello everyone. Also says, where do you get your news from? A variety of sources. Usually when it comes to wrestling journalists, you can look at the reports that are coming out and see basically where they get the information from. For example, a lot of Fightful news, somebody in the production team leaks some information. The WWE have been trying to flush that out recently. They've not been the most reliable, but still have more information than anyone else. So it is very much just someone in the production team leaking information. Now, when it comes to what I'm sharing, a lot of it is creative. You can probably work it out, the rest of it out from there. Freaks of Wrestling says, is it true that Finn Balor will turn on AJ Styles and join Edge's group? And this comes from Brad Shepard. It's a forever report, that. And when I say a forever report, if this feud continues for months and Finn Balor never turns on AJ Styles, then what Brad Shepard will be able to say is, oh, what are you talking about? That was ages ago. Get with the program. Plans changed. If that happens immediately, he'll be able to say, oh, I reported that, even though it's been rumoured heavily by fans for months. By months, I mean weeks, because ultimately Finn Balor only joined AJ in a manner about a month ago. But Finn Balor was first mentioned as a member of a faction with AJ before the faction first appeared on WWE programming a month and a half ago. So when it was first rumoured, when the report first came out, that's when people first started mentioning Finn Balor with AJ, and that's when people first started mentioning the concept of Finn Balor turning on AJ. So it's a forever report. It's one of those that Brad Shepard is famous for, where he keeps mentioning, Sasha Banks is coming back this month. 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 Told you Sasha Banks was coming back this month. Eventually he'll get it right. Ross says, would Tyson Fury being available make McIntyre Fury that main event for the UK pay-per-view? Main event, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I definitely find it very likely that that match is going to happen. That match is being pitched. Tyson Fury and Drew McIntyre are both working very hard, basically chewing Vince's ear off to try and make this one happen. Spider-Boss says, if WWE is killing time to find a new opponent for Bianca, I would love to see Liv challenge Bianca. That would be an abandonment of Liv's current storyline with Rhea Ripley, and I think it's more important that we continue that particular storyline. So honestly, I would prefer that that did not happen. If given the option you have to put Bianca Belair in a match, put her in the match with Becky and Asuka, and then Becky and Asuka can both go into Money in the Bank, continue that feud, finish it off at Hell in a Cell in the actual singles match, and we can have Bianca versus Alexa next month, Bianca versus Rhea at SummerSlam, and so on and so forth. The user says, do you see Moxley renewing his contract or following in the footsteps of Cody? If he doesn't get the right offer, he will leave the company, but I don't necessarily think he'll come back to the WWE. I think he'll go on a bit of a tour, and we'll have to wait and see what he actually does following. Nelson Romano says, who do you think has a bigger chance joining Edge, Ciampa or Balor? I hope neither of them. I think neither of them are a good fit. I would rather see Balor leading something, or at least joint leading with AJ, rather than relegated to Edge's backup, particularly when you consider that Balor and Damian Priest have just been feuding. They have just been feuding. Ciampa as well, it's a bad start. Immediately coming in and just being like, okay, there you go. It's just not very fun. Not very fun for me. Spider-Boss says, if Bianca versus Becky versus Asuka ever happens, I see Asuka taking the L. I don't see Becky losing clean. No one really loses clean in a triple threat match. In that situation, Becky would be the one to take the pin. Sean says, do you think we will get a women's cell match this year? I don't, honestly. I don't really think there's anything in particular that makes that work for me. I don't think there's enough heat in any of the women's feuds at the moment. But I think if they did and go with that triple threat, I don't think anyone would particularly complain. Bailey says, Ari Sasha, her Twitter feed shows she's only following 6 people. Fair enough. If that's the only people she wants to follow, then fair enough. She's not a big Twitter fan anyway. Doesn't really go on it. Matthew says, what is the other cell match planned besides Cody and Seth? I didn't say there were 2. At no point did I say there were 2. I read someone else saying, what are the 2 matches? I didn't say there were 2. D. Freeman says, have this Cody versus Seth feud been building up to Cody winning in the cell all bloody up? Don't necessarily think bloody, but certainly Cody winning in the cell. Matthew Ham, I've already answered that question for you. Wiggly says the title risk going down to the wire. I can't believe Mahrez missed the penalty. In hindsight, City did well to rescue that point. From 2-0 down, absolutely they did, but I still think it's City's to lose. What's your view on Haaland? I don't think he fits Guardiola whatsoever. Simon says, will Sasha be in the women's Money in the Bank women's match? Yeah, probably. Probably yes. Matthew says, Dave Meltzer said that the unification match would happen, but they are not going to unify the titles. He also said that they didn't want to unify the championships and wouldn't do a unification match after they cancelled the last one. And here he is saying the unification match is going to happen. So, as I've reported previously and has been confirmed by the Wrestling Observer, they are making this up as they go along. So they could pull the wool out from under us. They could pull the wool over our eyes, could pull the rug out from under us. But at the moment, certainly there's a lot of voices begging for unification. Jermaine says, I still see Roman dropping one title to Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, drop the other title to Drew McIntyre at the UK pay-per-view. Yep, that's something I mentioned right after WrestleMania and something I definitely find likely going forwards. Spider-Boss says, I would add a stipulation to Cody versus Seth. The winner faces Roman at SummerSlam. It's possible, but I don't think that really adds to the match. I would rather see Cody earn the right in some other way. At the moment, it just seems like a complete guess. Like, okay, one of you can face him. Why not one of anyone else? Also, it wouldn't be logical that it's, oh, you win the right to SummerSlam, because then you're ignoring Money in the Bank. Though I do think Money in the Bank will be Randy Orton's turn. The user says, what match do you think will main event the UK pay-per-view? Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Steve, welcome. It's good evening, Mr. Colohue. Can't stay long this evening, but wanted to drop in and say, hey, keep up the amazing work as always. Thank you kindly, Steve. I very much appreciate that. It's very nice to see you here. And while I've got everyone's attention, if you've not yet done so, please consider, if you're watching the YouTube video, hitting the like button. That little thumbs up can make a massive difference going forwards and really does help us grow. As well, if you've not yet done so, please click subscribe. Every new subscriber continues our growth. We're currently sitting at 1,115 subscribers, which means we are very close to 1.12, which is where Sportskeeda were when I first joined them. Also, I've spoken about it previously. I want to make it official at this point, so I'm just going to go and grab it. I am launching a new YouTube channel. Now, to be blunt, my intention is not to go massive on this, not to make it the focus, the be-all and end-all. This channel will still be the first and foremost when it comes to Tom Colohue-based content. However, anything gaming-related is going to be moving over to a Colohue gaming channel. We will be launching the Colohue gaming channel on Saturday. So this upcoming Saturday, we will be launching the Colohue gaming channel. We will be launching it with a live stream, which will then be removed once I have the full video prepared and broken down into a highlight reel. The game we will be playing is going to be The Last of Us Part 2. We've already played The Last of Us on the Twitch channel. We will be playing The Last of Us on Twitch and on Colohue Gaming. So I'm just going to find the channel. It's taking me a moment here, but if I go like that and go to Colohue Gaming, it has given me a whole load of different things, none of which is actually the channel that I'm looking for. Wonderful. Just give me the channel. Just give me the exact channel. That's the exact name of the channel. Bear with me one moment, guys. That's not it either. Wonderful. Okay, so let me try Google. There's other ways around it, but it's annoying. Colohue Gaming YouTube. Nope. Lots more Tom Colohue though. Alright, let's go the other way then. I'll go via the studio. Ooh, I actually can't right now. Anyway, I'll work it out. I will find it. I will work it out. It shouldn't be this hard, but we are where we are on it. And yeah, it's not currently findable. But once that's ready, I will probably post that tomorrow so people can start subscribing if they would like to. The channel name is Colohue Gaming, and I'll send a link probably via Twitter over the next few days, and it'll pop up on YouTube as well. So if you're interested in more gaming content, keep an eye on the Twitch where we'll be hosting, and of course Colohue Gaming, the new channel that I've just launched. Spiderboss says, who is your pick for the women's Money in the Bank? Shayna, probably. Wiggly says, I don't want Asuka to lose. That would be why Becky would. Simon says, Sasha's follower list on Twitter went from 3,702 to just 6. No one understands why. She even stopped following her husband, Mikaze Bailey, but it's most probably a Twitter hack. Same thing happened to Kofi a while ago. Could be a number of things. Could be anything. I don't really feel it's that big a deal either way. Wiggly says, also seeing the tweets from Hikaru Shida effectively breaking kayfabe by saying she's not really injured. Yep. AEW have not been that good to her, to be blunt. Nelson says, I hope Balor doesn't join Edge. I'd rather see a tag team of AJ, then Finn can turn. Which, of course, would still be a correct report, which is why it's a forever report. Even if it happens in 2 years. Spiderboss says, what is the plan for Theory's USA title reign? At the moment, to feud with Mustafa Ali. Jay Quick says, do you think we could get Ronda and Charlotte at the UK show? Yes, I think we'll get both Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair at the UK show. Sean says, Alexander Wolf said on Two Man Power Trip, a wrestling podcast, that he misses WWE and that Vince's operation is such a great company, and he misses how the company takes care of its talent. A lot of people do say that. A lot of people say that. There is no reason why that isn't automatically a win, as it were. If that's his experience, then that's his experience. I know a lot of people are of the opinion that everything the WWE does is bad, but in reality, a lot of people, even those that have been fired, don't agree with that. Sean says, could Alexander come back? Like Cedric Alexander? He's still there. Wiggly says, do you see Drew winning at Cardiff? Yes. Bilsa says, hello, Bilsa. How you doing, mate? Matthew Ham says, who is Roman's planned opponents for Money in the Bank, SummerSlam and Clash of the Castle? If you've been watching this stream, you will already know all of those. D. Freeman says, you said Khan no longer has a blank check and Mox is making $6 million. Would they like him back at that same price or lower since they no longer have that blank check like they used to? Ideally, they'd like him for lower because that's the glorious thing. If they can sign people for the same deal for less money, they'd always do that. But as someone who plays a lot of Football Manager, that's not always how things work. Yes, Wiggly, I'm splitting off into a gaming channel on YouTube, but Twitch will still be one channel for everything. Spiderboss says, I would love to see Sasha and Alexa and Bailey and Liv and Rhea and Shayna at the women's Money in the Bank. There is definitely a lot of big names there, and there may be a couple more added, I'll tell you that. Jermaine says, I have a feeling that Sasha and Naomi feud with Shayna and Natalya is not over. Also believe Sasha and Naomi will make a couple appearances on NXT 2.0 soon. To be blunt, I still firmly believe we are heading towards Naomi joining the Bloodline, and once she has done that, turning on Sasha Banks. When I talk about the Bloodline unifying and accruing more championships, the name Naomi is very much still in there and still being mentioned. Get a Table says, Cody is reportedly getting $3 million a year. Do you think MJF will want more? If so, do you think WWE would give it to him? WWE would give it to him, yes. I have absolute confidence and have been told by a lot of different people that the WWE, in particular Vince McMahon, would move heaven and earth to get hold of MJF. They always want a Miz. They always want to have at least one person acting as the Miz. For a while in WWE, that was Jeff Jarrett, for example. Just that mid-level guy. Chris Jericho was the guy for a while. And now they've got the Miz, they've got Kevin Owens, just someone who can always host a show, who can always be a heel when needed. MJF is perfect to take up that mantle, and he's everything that Vince McMahon wants. Now, when it comes to the $3 million a year, there are conflicting reports here. For example, the report was from PW Torch, I believe, Wade Keller, stating that Cody was getting $3 million a year from the WWE. Or at least that's what he wanted from AEW, but AEW wouldn't pay it. There are also reports out there saying that Cody was already getting $3 million. So as part of the financial analysis that I did with Brillman, we did have to ignore quite a lot of reports and really fact-check everything. You've probably seen that recently there was a report out there stating the money that is made by AEW wrestlers. Not a single thing was true. Wiggly says, do you think AEW is starting to get lame? No idea, don't watch enough of it. Spider-Boss says, what is your opinion of Edge's stable? I think it's a breath of fresh air. I think it's very refreshing, and I'm very, very glad to have it. Spider-Boss says, I wonder if Charlotte loses to Ronda again. What is next for Charlotte? Anybody else? Probably Sasha. Simon says, Tony Khan says the trios titles are happening very soon. Know when they are officially coming in? Nope. Also, there are rumours AEW is bringing in mixed tag team title belts too as well. That's too many championships. I think we're very much getting to a point of too many championships in AEW. But to be fair, we've already got too many in WWE. So, Simon says, when is the Rhea versus Liv singles match happening, Tom? Probably it's going to be on Raw in the next few weeks. It'll be one of those that they build a next time, you're not going to want to miss this around. Michael Winston says, one of the plans for Bobby Lashley to lose to Omos. I'm not happy about it, but that is the plan. Omos will be the conquering hero for a little while longer, and there may be an expansion of MJF is on my mind, of MVP's faction. Bobby Lashley will not start to recover until around SummerSlam time. Pardon me. Around SummerSlam time, Bobby Lashley will start to recover as he goes back towards the top level. Jermaine says, hey Tom, have to recheck the source on this, but I believe it was Wrestling Observer or Peter Insider that said Charlotte will come back for SummerSlam to feud with Ronda when she's done with her hiatus. That was the Wrestling Observer. When it comes to SummerSlam, they're going to need a big match for Ronda. Shayna doesn't really cut the bill. So it's either going to be Sasha or Charlotte, basically. Wiggly says, okay, Tom, I want to say it here. How much longer will AEW last? As long as they are making money and they have money in the back pocket. At the moment, worst comes to worst, they have to release some more staff, some more wrestlers. They lose someone like Jon Moxley. They lose someone like MJF. They will keep going. They will go from strength to strength. It'll be a hit, but they will still have plenty of talented people. Noob says, why do I get the feeling that Naomi might unify the women's titles? She will not be doing that. Wiggly says, AEW is starting to feel a bit cheap and desperate now. Disagree. Nelson wants Solo Sikoa to join the Bloodline. I don't want that. I just don't want him to be entirely defined by, oh, he's a spare Uso. And if you put him in the Bloodline, that's exactly what he's going to be. Spider-Boss says, MJF in AEW seems similar to Jericho on WCW in 99. That is based on backstage reports. We don't know the man personally. Get the Table says, I'm curious, do you think MJF ends up in the WWE? Yes, I absolutely do. I think if MJF is as unhappy as has been mentioned, he definitely wants to leave, and I think the WWE not only pays him the money he wants, but I may or may not believe that the WWE have already been in contact. Sean says, does anyone know if Alexa worked the live event yesterday, and will she work them going forward? I've absolutely no idea. And D. Freeman says, I know Brett Weiss, the man who has the biggest person asking for AEW on Warner, is now gone. I know this hurt them with the check. You don't actually know that though, D. Freeman. I've just got to be honest there. You may think that, but there is no evidence to support that. Simon says, do you see Shida possibly leaving AEW in the near future, coming to NXT 2.0? I don't see her going to NXT 2.0. I think she'd go back to Stardom. And Sean says, why would MJF be unhappy with AEW? Well, the reports are that he is unhappy with AEW. I don't know the man, so I can't say for sure. Spider-Boss says, how long will Bryan Danielson stay in AEW? Until the end of his contract. Wiggly says, I saw a beautiful black cat the other day that looked like a tiny panther. Just thought I would share. Okay. Douglas Pino says, any plans for the US or the IC title? Yes, they are planned to feature on Raw and SmackDown going forwards. I've mentioned previously when it comes to the IC title, it's a bit of a placeholder at the moment. They're not sure what to do with Ricochet because they've got no one for him to wrestle. So Sami Zayn is likely to get it back sooner rather than later. As regards to the US title, Ali versus Austin Theory is right there. And Wiggly says, Shida will come to WWE and be a huge star. Trust me, I don't. You're the guy who keeps saying that Liverpool will lose, and they don't. You're the guy who said City would win the Champions League, and they don't. Right, at the moment we're low on questions, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try again and find this whole Colohue gaming thing. Because my damn channel, and it should work. Like, it should work. I don't know why it's difficult to find. But yeah, I'm not very searchable apparently. I found a lot of Tom Colohue videos, but not the actual channel. But I did, to be fair, create it today. So that may be why. See if I can find it this way. Simon says, do you see Sasha, Nakamura, Sami Zayn all going to Raw in the draft? No, not all of them. I definitely don't see all of them going. This doesn't make sense to me. Get the Table says, only thing of MJF in WWE is I feel he would be watered down. Do you think he would be able to be the way he is on the mic in the WWE? Oh no, absolutely not. He wouldn't be scripted per se. He would get bullet points though. He would be a lot more controlled. Everyone would be. Spider-Boss says, any chance of seeing Sasha and Naomi versus Doudrop and Nikki Ash? Yes. A high chance, I would say. A high chance indeed. Right, let me know if the stream just ends because I've technically swapped my channel. I just need to go into the studio and find the damn thing. I've just realised that it will actually let me subscribe to my own channels on this new channel. Ridiculous world. Bailey says, when does the WWE's contract with Raw come up for renewal? Not sure, actually. I'm not sure. I know it's not far off. I think it's about a year, maybe a year and a half. Douglas says, I loved Sammy, but I want Gunther to win the IC title soon. Not impossible. It would be a quick rise for him, but it'd be a rise that I think everyone would be behind. There'd be no real downside to it, is the thing. So, I don't know. I'd be pretty happy with that. Just as a concept. Okay, I have the channel link. So I'm going to post this in the YouTube first. This is the link to the Colohue Gaming channel. If you're interested in some gaming streams, which will be starting this Saturday, and with a double bill Saturday and Sunday, by all means, follow along there as we get started. And I'm going to immediately swap back to the current channel just to make sure nothing gets screwed up. Spider-Boss says, do you see Finn Balor and Liv Morgan going to SmackDown in the draft? I don't know. It is still far too early for certain names. When I do get information, I will let you know. I was, after all, the only person to report that AJ Styles was moving to SmackDown in 2020 after WrestleMania. Now, this got me my very own hate thread on Reddit, but it was true. Simon says, Drew Gulak, Chad Gable, the more underrated talent. Chad Gable, no question. Spider-Boss says, I would love to see Nikki Cross with her old gimmick. Her old gimmick was, I'm crazy, we can do better than that. Sean says, chance Becky unifies the women's titles. 0. Simon says, when is the 6-person tag happening between the Bullet Club and Liv versus the Judgment Day? We have not been able to clarify that match is going to happen, first and foremost, so I'm not sure. And Spider-Boss says, I would love to see Gunther versus Ricochet for the IC title. We are out of questions and we are out of news. So I'm going to wrap it up there. And we will see you all again tomorrow, same time for Spoiler Warning. In the meantime, just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has joined me. And we will move on from there. Hey Jaden, we're just wrapping up. But still, very nice to see you. Thank you for joining. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. And I'll see you all very soon.